Turd Podcast, episode 163, Lamar, Accident Man, 1 and 2. Ya wanker.
Oh, that's a British accent. You're not being sensitive to the British people. But, Joe, how many times offline have we talked about Scott Adkins?
Many times.
One of our favorites. Yeah. One of our favorites. He's one of my new favorite people to see kick other people in the face. It brings out joy in me, even if he's not the star. But Scott Adkins, I think he was a producer on like this new franchise. I
thought he wrote it.
To do with it. Yeah, he wrote it.
He wrote it. Okay.
In his kind of like his own little franchise, Accident Man.
Yeah.
Joe. So yeah, we're ready to talk about him kicking people in the face and others that have joined him on this journey. We're going to talk about this, Joe.
Well, Lamar, we'll start like we always start with the story. We're going to rate both movies. So we'll rate them both as a whole.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you think of the stories? Or what are the stories?
Well, the story, it was starting with number one. Starts off, of course, Scott Adkins. He is a hitman, but he makes his hits or assassinations look like accidents. He's part of kind of like this group of other assassins, which we'll talk about, features some of our other favorite people. And what happens is that an ex of his who becomes a lesbian gets killed, but he knows some other things that have happened. And so he's going to investigate her murder. And then it turns into this whole smorgasbord of just hit people, killing people. Yeah. Killing each other. Sorry. Yes.
Yep. And then the second one is like after he's killed all his mates.
Spoilers, I guess. Whatever. Yeah.
And he's kind of like he's ousted from the hitman community, kind of. So he's taking refuge somewhere else. He's starting to build himself as a hitman over there.
Yes.
Then he gets roped into like protecting some woman's son.
Yes. Oh, we're going to talk about the son and all the characters.
If he doesn't, she's going to kill his friend.
Yes.
And who's trying to kill the son is one of his other friends, also from his mentor, actually, from the first movie. Yes. So it's another kind of mush-mosh of craziness.
Yes.
Well, what do you give it for story?
Joe, I like this concept. Charles Bronson, I think, was in this movie called The Mechanic, where he kind of did the same thing. Yeah. But he was quaint. He was more, quiet, because what else can Charles Bronson do? Rest in peace. But this one, Scott Adkins brings a lot of flair to the character. And it's very interesting how, like, he has, like, his kind of outlook on life. Basically, I would say he's close to being a psychopath, but you kind of root for him because he has a relatable issue. So I like the story, and I like, as it continues in the second one, because it kind of like resolves some things that happened in the first one. Yes.
Right. So 1 point for you?
Yes, Joe.
I'm giving it a half a point, Lamar.
Go ahead. Why?
I really enjoyed the first one. I liked the whole story, getting to know their like world.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the second one maybe was a little too simplistic.
Okay.
It didn't go like it didn't expand on their universe. It just kind of stuck with this thing where he was latched onto this guy. He had to protect him, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't as good to me, but I really loved the first one.
That's fair, I guess, Joe. Now, man, this is going to be a long section. We got to talk about like the characters and / the cast.
Yeah.
The first one, of course, we talked about Scott Adkins.
Amy Johnton is in it, Lamar.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Why did you say Amy Johnston, Joe?
Just so you knew she was in it. Damn
she was in it. Yeah, that's why. Is that it? Yes. But Ray Stevenson plays Big Ray, who's the mentor to Scott Adkins. One of our favorites, Michael Jai White.
Of course.
He plays Mick, and he is buddied up with Ray Park. Very well-known martial artist. He was Darth Maul, basically.
Yep.
And he was also Toad in X-Men. And then you said, who did you say?
Amy Johnston.
Amy Johnston?
Lamar. Jane the Ripper, but they called her something in the movie, like...
Well, they called people a lot
Murderous Honey Trap or something like that.
But a great cast of characters. They all kind of have, like, their own things. Like you said, Amy Johnson, Jane the Ripper. She's like a samurai expert.
Yeah. And the cool thing was every assassin had their own specialty. Like one guy, he only poisoned people.
Yes.
Like they all did their thing. So that was cool. What about the characters in the second one, Lamar?
Man, okay, you said it was simplistic, but boy, oh boy, the assassins.
We got to start off first with his friend.
Well, his friend.
What was her name?
Wong Siu Ling. Now, we have to explain this to our viewers, Joe.
Basically,
PMD.
to wind down from killing somebody, he has to like get into a fight, basically.
He has to, release that stress and all that kind of stuff. So he hires this woman after seeing her in a bar fight just to come randomly and beat him up.
Yeah. That's a funny element. Yeah.
I like that part because it's just kind of like she was very funny too. I thought she was very funny. She was. Then the assassins, Joe.
There's a whole bunch. There's a vampire. A guy that's like a vampire.
There's a vampire. Yeah. There's a clown.
The clown that was
can't feel pain. And then you have this like special forces woman who comes into the fray. And then, of course, I think, because he's protecting, this mob woman's son. The son was ridiculous. Like that guy was nuts.
It was crazy.
He was nuts. So
Amy Johnston is not in this second one, Lamar.
She is not.
No. Just saying. I just wanted to let everyone know.
Did you, Joe? Did you? But all around, I think it goes with the gimmick when they bring in like new people and stuff like that. I like the characters overall. 1 point. Joe.
I also will give it 1 point. Yes. They went over the top.
Oh, God.
With the characters in this one. And in fact, like I was thinking the first one is basically John Wick on crack. And the second one is John Wick on acid. Like it's just crazy.
Yes, it is. It is very crazy.
But we have to talk about, touched a little bit about this, but we have to talk about the action.
Scott Adkins kicking people in the face. It just warms my heart. He even did his famous kick in the second one called the Geiger kick, where he kind of spins in the air with one leg and then hits somebody with the other one. Yeah, I think to be in these movies, it's like, yo, you got to have some martial arts skill.
Yeah. Yeah, the action was great. 1 point for me.
Yeah.
There was a ton of fights, long fight scenes too. He had a great fight scene with Amy Johnston. I think we talked about that already.
Did we, Joe?
But yes. So a lot of fighting, a little bit of like explosions and things like that, but everything was like creative and fun over the top.
It was, yes.
Well, the next category is an interesting one because I did not know what to expect going into this, but this was not just an action movie, Lamar. It was an action comedy. So how do we rate the comedy?
There's a lot of what they call black humor, not by race, Joe, but just dark stuff. Okay. You see somebody's head get chopped off, you laugh. You see somebody get blown up, you laugh. And it doesn't take itself seriously, but it's not like over the top goofy. So it has that good balance.
The second one got a little over the top.
And it got a little close. They added a freaking clown. Like you.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought it was funny. I wasn't expecting it to be an action comedy coming into it. So yeah, 1 point for me.
Agreed. 1 point. Yes, absolutely.
Well, they've made 2 of them, Lamar. We'd assume that they might make another one or more. So what do we think about this as a franchise going forward? How many John Wicks are there? 5?
I heard there's going to be 5. This is going to be the 4th one.
Okay. So do we see this going into that world? Like, let's 5 of these. Whole franchise. What do we say?
I'll say this. If they go back to, like, them, like, just taking hits and, like, funny things happening and stuff like that, you can keep on going with this. You can expand it even if you want to because it has that underground world and stuff like that. And you keep Scott Adkins, like I said, him kicking people in the face. Wow. Like, yeah, I give it a 1.
I also give it a 1 point. I'm actually a big fan of this now. I had a great time watching both of them back to back pretty much. They might even bring back Amy Johnston for a third one. Like she plays like her twin sister of the other character or something.
Would you like that, Joe?
Just give her like a different hair color or something. Just have her play another part completely.
You know what? That's crazy enough to work, Joe. Or What if they just, and I haven't said this in a long time. What if they made this just into a show?
I mean, I could see that. I
Yeah.
can actually see it work as a show. Like, what happens if he goes back in time, Lamar? Like, if he accidentally goes back in time.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm not going to say nothing.
Well, he's an assassin that goes back in time. And, like, the only way he can come back to the future is, like, they say, you have to be the one to kill Abraham Lincoln. And make it look like an accident.
Why did you pick Abraham Lincoln? I thought you were going to pick something else. Abraham Lincoln gets assassinated anyway.
But if it was an accident, it would be different. You would change all of history that way, at least people's perception of history. So he has to like travel through time, going to like famous, like JFK, like going through all the famous assassinations and making them look like accidents. And then once he does that, he's able to come back to the future.
So this is Quantum Leap. Like, this is Accident Quantum Man. Like, you know, I'm not even mad at that.
That
would be ridiculous. Oh, how far back are we going?
He goes like to Jesus or something.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, he falls off the donkey.
It's like some weird freaking Illuminati or something like that. It's like, look, we have to make Jesus' death look like an accident.
Yeah.
And the only person who can do it is Mark Fallon. We're going to send you back in time so you can do spinning kicks onto the apostles.
Yes. I'm telling you, it could work. Time travel always works.
I'm not even mad at that. I'm not even mad at that, Joe. Like, you got me with that time travel.
Scott Adkins, so crazy. Give me a call, sir. Judas, you wanker.
That's the part of it. He's like, hey man, don't be hanging around that guy Judas all the time. He's an a-hole. Why? Just trust me. You know. Yeah.
See, there you go. Yeah. Well, I just wrote the sequel.
There you go.
Accident Man, Hitman in Time.
I like it, Joe. I love it. Yeah.
Well, Lamar, we tallied the score, and this franchise so far gets a 4.75, almost a perfect score.
Joe, you're so picky. I get what you're saying, though, because like the first one was kind of like, it was more intricate in what they actually do. This one, he turned into like a bodyguard, kind of. But 4.75 is still good.
Yeah. Very good. Does that wrap this up, then?
It does.
All right. Accident Man and Amy Johnston. Peace.
Deuces. I love that you mentioned, okay, you're God, Lord Jesus.
You never know, Lamar.
You gonna holler at her?
I just did. But weren't you watching the review, Lamar?